His talks are always marvelous and magical. Give it up for Brian Miller.
Fantastic. Right now. Everybody out like this, out like this, out like this. Everybody out like this. This is a little warm-up I used to do when I was a magician. That's fantastic. Oh, you don't have to wiggle your fingers, but I love that everyone's doing it. It was very obedient. Everyone's like, yes, Magic Man, whatever you say. I trust this guy for some reason. Here, put your hands out. Ready? Everybody on me. Left hand, thumb down, palm out. Mostly good. Right hand, thumb down, palm out. Good. Take one arm, cross it all the way over the other. Make sure your thumbs are down. Your fingers together, thumbs are down. Everybody's got you on me? All right, ready? Wiggle your thumbs. Wiggle your shoulders, and give me a big thumbs up to start this thing. Magic! Yay! You shouldn't start presentations like that. People just ignore you for the entire rest of it. You'll see folks wandering the streets of Indianapolis tonight. You'll know, oh, I saw them today. Those are my people. So my name is Brian, and when I was here 3 years ago, it's such a pleasure to be back at NIO Summit. I was at the Willy Wonka one, if those of us who met there. Yeah, that was a crazy time. I was here to talk about interpersonal communication, how to make meaningful connections at a very, very human level. Today I'm here to talk about that, but with a little bit of a different angle. I'm here to talk about that. I don't have a clicker. I'm here to talk about that at, thank you very much, love the tech. Here to talk about that at the level of business communication and your messaging, how to talk less, say more, and connect with anyone. Now, when I'm 20 years old, I had just been invited, I had been accepted into a doctoral program for contemporary analytic metaphysics. I was going to do a PhD in contemporary philosophy of language. And at the very last moment, I decided to turn down that PhD offer because I wanted to pursue my lifelong dream of being a professional magician. And that was a tough phone call home to mom and dad. Hi, Dr. Miller. Dad. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to do that PhD. I'm going to do card tricks for a living. So that first year of that went about as well as you would expect. It was really tough. I couldn't find enough gigs. I couldn't get paid enough to really make the rent, make ends meet. And I didn't understand what was going wrong. I was so good at magic. I was so good at sleight of hand. I was obsessed with tricks, card tricks. I read every book. I was studying under a world-renowned sleight of hand artist, but I couldn't make this business work. And one day, I heard that this famous corporate entertainer was coming to town. And I had heard through the magician grapevine, which is a real thing, that this guy was getting paid like $3,000 per show and doing like 10 of these a month. And I was like, what is happening? I can't even get $300 a show once a month. I got to find out what this guy's doing that is 10 times better than what I'm doing. So I sneak into his show. I sit at the back of the room and I'm watching. And I am blown away. I am just blown away by how incredibly basic this show is. He is doing some of the simplest magic that I knew how to do when I was basically 8 years old. At one point, he took a couple of purple silks and he made them change places. Okay, he didn't do that, but he did make that joke though. So if you've hung out around magicians, you'll hear a lot of jokes like that. I am now a dad to an almost 4-year-old, and they're all coming back. It's beautiful. What he actually did was he took the silks, he went into his pocket, took out a ratty little yellow silk. You might have seen him. Magicians always have some kind of ratty little yellow silk. You might have had one of these when you were a kid learning magic tricks. He shoved it into his fist. He showed you it's not going up the sleeve. It's not coming out the other side. And he put this thing into his hand, and then he grabbed a little bit of fairy dust from his pocket. He waved it over it. The silk vanished completely and showed up in between the purple silks. It was, I know. That's what happened to him too. They were clapping. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. At one point, he grabbed like a blue silk and he noticed a ghost. And it was just very, very strange. And the whole show went on like that. He did trick after trick after trick, incredibly basic stuff that I knew how to do when I was 6. And after the show, a line of adults in suits were waiting to talk to him. and said, oh my God, when you did that thing where you ripped the newspaper up and put it back together, that was amazing. That thing where the 3 different ropes became one rope, that was amazing. When you took my dollar and it disappeared and showed up in the lemon, that was amazing. And the client, she was like, I need to book you again. I need to tell all my friends about you at other companies. And I'm watching this happen, and it finally dawns on me what he's doing that I'm not doing. Every single trick in his act, at its core, could be described in one sentence, a simple sentence. The ropes became one. The dollar bill disappeared and showed up somewhere else. A ghost showed up out of nowhere. And so I learned the most important lesson of my entire career that I've now built the consulting firm on this same lesson that I run today. And that lesson is this. If people do not know how to talk about what you do, they will not talk about what you do. This lesson changed my life, it changed my magic career, and it's led to everything that I've done since. If people do not know how to talk about what you do, they will not talk about what you do. Every single one of us in this room is on a mission. You're all trying to do something powerful, to put some good into the world, to make a dent in the universe, right? But something has changed over the last 10 to 20 years. In fact, 2 major things have changed. First, there's been a dramatic decrease in trust. We don't trust anything or anyone anymore. We don't trust politicians, healthcare professionals. We don't trust executives. We definitely don't trust do-gooders telling us that if we give them a little bit of our hard-earned money, they're going to do something positive in the world. We don't trust anybody. We've been scammed enough. Trust is down. And there's been an insane increase in noise. You all know this. There's never been more people shouting at us, trying to get our attention, trying to sell us something or get us to sign up for their free thing, right? Trust is down, noise is up. And in that world, how do we get our ideas to spread? And the answer is very simple. We must carve an elephant out of a block of marble. So, this is an old engineering riddle. How do you carve an elephant out of a block of marble? Who knows the answer? Oh, I think I heard it somewhere towards the back there. You just chip away everything that doesn't look like an elephant. Simple, but not easy to do. Here's what happens to us when we're in the business of spreading ideas, as we all are. We have a marble elephant in our minds. We can see it. We know what our thing is. We know the mission that our organization is on. We know the good that happens in the world when people sign up and donate and we get to do our thing, right? But we hand people a block of marble and we go, look, an elephant. And they have they can't see the elephant the way that we can see it. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know why you've handed it to them, what it is. It's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's cold, it's sharp. What are they going to do? They're going to put it down, hand it back to you, throw it away, and they're going to continue going through their life until someone shows up and presents the thing they're looking for in a way that is immediately, obviously what they're looking for. And that is what this presentation is about. We need to be able to describe what we do, who it's for, and why it matters in one sentence. What you do, who it's for, and why it matters in one sentence. If you can't do that right now, this presentation is for you. I met a lot of you last night. This presentation is for you. We call this approach core messaging. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. By the end of this presentation, you're going to know how to answer the world's worst question, which is not, why do all AI-generated images look like nightmare fuel? Although that's a very good question. No, by the end of this presentation, you'll know how to answer the world's worst question, which I'll reveal to you towards the end. Here's my promise. Over the next 21 minutes and 1 second, my promise to you is this. This presentation will be 3 things. First, it will be clear. It better damn well be. It's a presentation on message clarity. Second, it will be practical. This is not a rah-rah, go-get-em speech. You're going to leave here with actual new words you can use to describe the mission that you're on and hopefully get more people to sign up, collaborate, participate, and spread it. And finally, it's going to be fun. I'm going to do a little bit more magic. I'm going to tell you some crazy stories. I'm going to show you some good stuff. Clear, practical, fun. Can we all agree that will have been a good use of our time together this morning? Yes? Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to do a little magic demonstration for you now to show you the very first trick that I actually created after the realization that my tricks needed to have a clear core message at the bottom of them in order for them to spread. I asked Paul to choose a volunteer for me. Paul, do you have somebody that can come out and help me out with this? We do. And what is your name? Raven. A big round of applause for Raven. Thank you so much. Right over here for me, if you would. Right here, just over the trapdoor. Fantastic. Hear that nervous laugh? Everybody still looks down. It's fine. Just one more step. Raven, where are you from? Texas. You said that. You got a big smile and you got a cheering crowd here. That's fantastic. We're going to try a little bit of mind reading. I've got actually a pack of playing cards here. I'm going to ask you to place those in your pocket on that side if you wouldn't mind. My only instructions to Paul were I need you to find me someone who has two qualities. One, they need to understand the difference between the suits, clubs, hearts, spades, and diamonds. You wouldn't believe you would have to say that, but I worked at a lot of colleges for a while. And you do have to say that. I said, please don't find me a Gen Z. And with due respect, okay, here's a little bit of empathy. I used to think that was really funny. A lot of people make fun of Gen Z for not knowing the suits. The truth is, every Gen Z I meet, they actually know the cards. They play cards on their phone, but they've never had to say it out loud. There's no reason they would know what they're called. They just know them by sight. So a little bit of empathy for Gen Z. Still, I'm doing a magic trick. She needs to be able to say it out loud. So you need to know the suits, and I needed you to have a pocket, which of course you do, and we definitely know that it's there. So there it is. Fantastic. Raven, I want you to see a giant movie screen just over the heads of the audience, and I want you to see all the playing cards in the world mixing around, shuffling around. I'm sorry, not all the playing cards in the world, just one pack of cards. Your brain would implode. All right, so you see one pack of cards mixing around, shuffling around. Get rid of the obvious cards, aces, kings. Literally everybody thinks of those. Be more imaginative than that. Okay, so you see the cards. You should.
Jokers in here?
No jokers. Okay, you should see. It was a valid question that no one's ever asked. So you've got. Oh, it's your first time? Feels like mine. So you've got two different colors, red cards and black cards. I want you to get, if you're seeing anything other than red and black cards, we can find somebody else to do this. No? Good. I'm just checking. Jokers. So we're going to get rid of one of the colors in your mind, either the red cards or the black cards. Don't tell me which one. Just go, cards be gone.
Cards be gone.
Oh, good. That was very efficient. That was optimized. All right. So you're down to one color. You have either red cards or black cards. If you're looking at red cards, you see hearts and diamonds. If you're looking at black cards, you see clubs and spades. In case you're not sure, club is a clover, spade is a shovel. Club, clover, spade, shovel. If we have to do hearts and diamonds, I'm leaving. Get rid of one of the two suits that you see right now in your mind. Cards be gone, 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 gone. Oh, not the second time? That's fine. Okay, that's fine. Any chance you were a theater minor? All right. All right, so you're down to one suit. You have about 10 cards left. You have either clubs or hearts or spades or diamonds. You've got about 10 cards left now. See a number. Get it in your mind. Now, have you got it?
Yes.
You have a number and a suit. That means you're thinking of a playing card.
Yes.
Something like the Jack of Spades. That wasn't a guess. It wasn't. No. It wasn't the Jack of Spades. No, if it was that, I would have been like, goodbye, I'm done. Thank you very much. No. Keep your card in mind. Don't forget it, Raven. We're going to do an old classic piece of mind reading. This is actually called thought projection. What I've got here is I've got a whiteboard for you, a whiteboard for me, marker for you. In a moment, we're going to stand back to back. In a moment, you're going to face that way, I'm going to face this way. And while we're facing opposite directions, you're going to draw a picture of the card that you're thinking of as best as you can. And I'm going to try to draw what you're drawing while you're drawing it in the same detail and at the same time. And if I can do that, that would be amazing. I decided this. Okay. Okay, so all you have, there's not a pressure for you. You just have to draw the card you're thinking of. Okay, fantastic. Good. Back to back. Oh, no, I have a black one. That's okay. Oh, I got it. So all you need to do is just make sure that you do tilt it up enough, just a little bit higher, just so I can see it in the mirrors I set up backstage before the show. All right, I'm just teasing. All right, go ahead. You just start drawing. I'm not going to cheat. I'm just going to use my mental powers. Go ahead. You just draw nice and detailed, Raven. So, you took a little bit longer than some people do to notice I had a mirror on the back of it. That's just a piece of tinfoil taped to the back of this. That's the stupidest joke. All right. I'm just teasing. You just make sure it's nice and detailed. I'm not going to cheat. I'm just going to use my mental antenna. This is the best $2 I ever stole from my dentist. Man, you have more fun in life. I'm just teasing you, Raven. What card are you thinking of? It's okay. I've seen it like 4 times. Your mind is blank. What happened?
I wasn't really there yet.
Is that a heart? It's one heart. Is there a number involved in this?
Yes.
What is it?
Want me to write it?
Yeah, we may as well at this point. 2. Nice and big so everyone can see it. Thank you for that. That's okay. 2 of hearts. Is there any particular reason you're thinking of the 2 of hearts? Is 2 your lucky number?
No.
No? Hearts? You're just kind of a happy person. Fantastic. It would have been more impressive if I had named this before you said it. You might have, they might have forgotten. You probably didn't. You got a pack of playing cards that's been in your pocket since we started this thing. Would you take those out for me? I want you to see this. On the back of this pack of cards is a big black X. Would you do me a favor? Take just a few steps up that way. I want to make sure the camera can see this and that you can see this as well. In this pack of cards, what I did is I went through here, and on only one card, I want you to see this, on only one card, there's a card facing the wrong way. Only one facing the wrong way, and it's the only one in the entire pack with a big black X, the 2 of hearts. Raven, you have an excellent imagination. Thank you so much for playing along with that. Give her a big round of applause for helping out with that silly nonsense. Why in the world did I just show you that? Why did I show you that? Because after I discovered that my tricks were lacking message clarity, they were lacking a way for people to talk about them simply, I had to create a trick. I had to start putting tricks in my act that would do that. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you my formulas and my frameworks for you to create better messaging in your own organizations. And when I do, you will think I'm telling you to be boring. And I am not. This trick, I added it to my act, and people started lining up after the show, and they would come up to me and they would say, oh man, the show was fun. That one thing you did where she thought of a card and you knew what it was amazing. That was how everybody described this trick. I wanted you to see that because there was a lot of other stuff, jokes and bits of business and back and forth and mirrors and nonsense. Just because you make something clear does not mean it has to be boring. What it means is we cannot sacrifice clarity for cleverness. Clarity first, build up to something fun. The most important slide I ever put on the screen in any presentation is this one. The best ideas don't win. The clearest ideas win. There's a lot of people with a lot of ideas. A lot of them have better ideas than you have. Your ideas are going to triumph if you can explain them clearly. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So, my firm built a system. It's called the Core Message Triad, 3 steps, filter, story, hook, argument. For the next 12 minutes, we're going to talk about the filter. You will get outsized returns by only doing this thing. The thing I'm about to show you is how we train TED speakers. We work with a lot of folks giving the most important talk of their life. We work for about 18 months and 200 hours with a speaker on a 10-minute talk they're going to give once. And we don't let them write a word of it until they can distill the entire talk into a single sentence that states what it is, who it's for, and why it matters. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about magicians. So, that is not me. But when I asked my graphic designer to find me a stock image of a silly magician, she came back with that, and I thought for a second I had forgotten about a photo shoot I did. It's not me. So imagine you're a magician. You go into a restaurant to pitch the owner on why they should hire you to do magic in their restaurant. And you pitch them, and you go in, you're like, hi, I'm John, I'm a magician. I do corporate events and birthday parties, backyard barbecues. I do restaurants, sweet 16s, funerals. Sometimes you got to do card tricks, bring people up from their misery. Next magician comes into the restaurant owner and goes, hi, I'm Bob, I'm a restaurant magician. Who gets the gig, you or Bob? Bob gets the gig, right? No, neither of them gets the gig. They hire the karaoke idiot, this asshole. How did he get your job? And why did we all go to high school with that guy? How did he get your job? What happened? The restaurant owner doesn't have a magician problem. You go in there talking about being a magician, it doesn't matter how well you describe yourself, you're going in there talking at a level that they are not listening at. You've heard this all day already, you're going to continue to hear it. Restaurant owners got a lot of problems. They've never woken up and gone, man, if only we had a magician. So no matter how you describe yourself, whether you specialize as restaurant magician or you go in there with I do everything under the sun, you're still presenting a solution to a problem that they don't have. Imagine if instead you went and you said, hi, I help busy restaurant owners distract patrons from long waits and make positive memories so they come back again and again. Who gets hired? You, every time. I know. I did this pitch for a decade. I worked at 5 restaurants at a time for most of my career. This is an easy pitch. You know why? Because it says what you do, who it's for, and why it matters in one sentence. Notice what it doesn't say. How I do it. They don't care. They don't care. By the way, I'm a magician. How you do it is by the way. So here's your framework. For audience, to action, so that impact. This is when all the phones come out. Click. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to put a QR code on the screen, and you can download the slides. So I'm going to fly through this. There you go. All right. So I got a golf clap. Somebody clapped for that. I lived in Connecticut for 15 years. That felt like somebody going, nice putt. That was very good. It was for audience to action, so that impact. Is this incredibly simple? Yes. Is this why it works? Yes, because it's so simple. Let's talk about these 3 components. First, audience. Who is your work for? Make this more specific by using modifiers. Instead of I don't know, church leaders. You could say overwhelmed church leaders, forward-thinking church leaders, passionate church leaders. Whatever your thing is, add a modifier. It will make it more specific. It will feel more personal. Second, action. What are you going to help them do or what are you going to do or help them do? Be specific enough in your action that not everybody wants to do it. I will come back to this in a second with an example. And finally, impact. Why does your work matter? Make this aspirational or universal. So let's talk through those 3. For audience to action, so that impact. Those of you who saw me in 2021 know that as a personal speaker, when I'm not representing my company, I talk on human connection and interpersonal interaction. Here is my filter statement. I work with mission-driven organizations to build connected cultures where everyone feels heard, understood, and valued. Okay, audience, mission-driven organizations. Not just organizations. I don't work with organizations, companies building cheap widgets that they're going to blast on Amazon en masse, knowing most of them are going to break and people are going to hopefully not ask for refunds because they're lazy. I don't work with those companies. I work with mission-driven organizations. To do what? Action. Build connected cultures. Specific enough that not everyone wants to do it. And that might surprise this room, because this room is looking at that like everyone wants to build a connected culture. I don't know how many executives you know. I know a lot of them, and let me tell you something, a little secret about culture. A lot of them, they're broken on purpose. Not everybody wants this. I work with people who do. And finally, impact, where everyone feels heard, understood, and valued. Aspirational, universal. This is a filter statement. Now, at a practical level, what can you do with a filter statement? Easiest thing you can do, stick it in your email signature. Everyone on your company, everyone on your team, right there in the email signature. Everyone who ever gets an email back and forth with your company sees this sentence in the email. Think about how much easier it is to spread your ideas. I had a company I consulted for once. They put this statement on the back. They redid their business card. This statement was on the back of everybody's business card. You can use this in your LinkedIn bios and all kinds of other places. But at a philosophical level, what does this do for you? You now have a filter for all your communication. So you're not sure about that social media post, that newsletter you're going to send out, a pitch that you're going to make in a meeting. You ask yourself, does this thing I'm about to say or post or type immediately and obviously support this sentence? If it doesn't, why would you bother saying it in a world of low trust and high noise? This is now your filter. It will keep all your messaging consistent across all platforms and make sure that you always know what you should be talking about. So, the one thing it doesn't do is answer the world's worst question, which is, what do you do? I asked a lot of you this question last night, and a lot of you asked me this question. Why is this the world's worst question? Because people don't know how to answer it. There are 3 ways we tend to answer this question. Someone says, what do you do? Either we do, this is the most common, job title. What do you do? I'm an accountant. Cool. I don't care. Especially if you're an accountant, right? Right? You give your job title. Could be interesting. Marine biologist. Cool. I don't know enough about marine biology to ask you an interesting follow-up question. The only thing people can think of is they might ask you, how long have you been doing that? No one cares. It's not interesting. That's not an interesting conversation, and it doesn't further your mission. So you want to make sure that when you're talking to people, you're not just giving them your job title. The second way we tend to answer this question, a lot of people do it, they just ramble. They talk and talk and talk and talk and talk until the person they're speaking to is finally just like, I think I just saw my friend. That's guacamole. There they are. I'm going to head over, meet them up with chips. So the final way that people tend to answer this question is absolutely the worst. And it's usually from very, very smart people, engineers, scientists, people who are real technical. They'll say, well, it's kind of complicated. What you've just said, if you say that to someone, is buckle up, tune out, you're about to be bored, right? So how do we answer this question? I'm going to give you a framework that I call the natural networking introduction. It goes like this. So you know how, and then you describe the problem you solve. Who met me yesterday and heard me do this? I see hands. So you know how, and you describe the problem you solve. So human connection specialist, right? That's what I do as a personal brand. Uber driver says, what do you do? I go, human connection specialist, and they drive in silence, ironically. Because what is that? I don't know. Instead, I go, well, you know how the world these days feels really distractive and divisive, like we're all kind of shouting past each other? And what they always do is go, it does feel like that. I'm like, I know. Watch the road, right? You describe the problem. People engage immediately because they understand problems. We think at the level of problem. And then you can say, well, I'm A. Now give them your title. It has context relative to the problem you just stated. And then finally, you can hit them with your filter statement. Because this statement doesn't make sense cold. Someone goes, what do you do? I work with organizations. That's weird, right? No one talks like that. But if you go, what do you do? Well, so you know how the world feels distractive and divisive? I'm a human connection specialist. I work with mission-driven organizations to build connected cultures where everyone feels heard, understood, and valued. In the span of 10 seconds, they have learned everything they could possibly need to know to ask you an interesting follow-up question, to engage with you, to share what you do. They'll know somebody else who needs to know you that they know that they want to introduce you to. It's amazing how fast this works. So what you're going to do is you're going to think about these three things, how you would answer these three things. So you know how, problem, well, I'm a, title, and finally, filter statement. I want to hear you practicing this at the networking, at lunch. You can try it with me. You can try it with the folks that are here. Work on this, because if every single person you meet and interact with, whether it's in a professional context or if you just bumped into someone in line at Starbucks that's a total stranger, imagine if every single person that you meet and interact with immediately understood what you do, who it's for, and why it matters. How much easier would it be for us to get the word out there about the work that we do? Would that be amazing? So I have about 2 minutes left. And so what I want is just for one person to somebody just try this. Just try it. Who's brave? Just who knows your company well enough? Go ahead, stand up. I don't have a mic to hand you, so you're just going to talk loud for us. What do you do?
You know how nonprofits have to fundraise to execute their missions? Well, I'm an integrated strategy director. I help intelligent fundraisers build intentional relationships to change the world one gift at a time.
Boom! Woo! First try. First try. Thank you. And what was your name? Rhea. Thank you for doing that, and I'm not even going to have anybody else attempt to follow that. The first attempt is usually nowhere near as clear as that. If your first attempt is not that clear, you are not failing at this exercise. So, I promised you at the beginning that this presentation would be clear, practical, and fun. How did I do? Yes? Okay. Here's a QR code. You scan that, put the word NIO, N-I-O, into the box. It'll ask you a few quick questions that really, really help me and Paul and Tim and all the folks putting this thing on get a little bit better understanding. You will instantly get access to the slides, my most popular resource, 7 ways to talk to anyone without looking like an idiot, and a full, complete digital copy of my book, 3 New People on Human Connection. Get all those things. I'll leave that up while I say one final thing. At any point, if you are struggling, trying to figure out what to say or how to say it, whether it's in written form or spoken communication, there's a 4-word phrase that I want you to keep in your mind, and that is this: just say the thing. Just say the thing. Whatever it is, don't overcomplicate it. Don't ramble on. Just say the thing. NIO Summit, it is an absolute honor to be back. My name is Brian Miller, and I really hope that you go make a dent in the universe. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Thank you very much.